UN experts denounced that the covert actions and threats of the United States against Venezuela violate its sovereignty and international law. During a meeting of the Council of Ministers, Colombian President Gustavo Petro denounced the United States' interventionist actions against the country. And in Argentina, President Javier Milei enacted emergency laws on pediatric health and university funding, but suspended their implementation and ordered Congress to determine the sources of their funding. Hello and welcome to From the South, from the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba. My name is Pablo Micheliche. We begin with the news. UN experts denounced that the covert actions and threats of the United States against Venezuela violate its sovereignty and international law. According to the experts' conclusion, the military actions of the United States in the Caribbean region violate the United Nations Charter and constitute a dangerous escalation with serious implications for international peace and security. They emphasize that it threatens territorial integrity, including the attempts to impose regime change in Venezuela. In this regard, they urge Washington to cease its aggression against the Caribbean and respect its self-determination. In this regard, the foreign minister of the country, Van Hill, spoke on behalf of the government to reiterate his position against threats. The Venezuelan foreign minister said, "Experts confirmed what we have been saying. The United States creates enemies to justify a supposed right to defense, resulting in massacres in the Caribbean Sea." Van Hill also stated that the Bolivarian government, on behalf of President Nicolás Maduro, reiterated its call for dialogue and respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Venezuela. The Venezuelan National Assembly proposed Tuesday to call on all parliaments of the countries of the Caribbean Basin to meet in Caracas to discuss the threat posed by U.S. military presence in the area. The motion was promoted by the President of the National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez, who affirmed that the Venezuelan parliament had all the necessary legal instruments to guarantee peace in the nation. During the parliament meeting, the lawmakers approved unanimously a draft agreement on the recent canonization by the Vatican of Dr. José Gregorio Hernández and Mother Carmen Rendiles. Deputy Jesus Brito informed that Pope Leo XIV had sent a message in which he expressed his hope that the canonization of Hernández and Rendiles be assumed by all Venezuelans as an opportunity for their unity as a nation.
And what can be said about the traitors who, fortunately in a minimal way, are calling And what can be said about the traitors who, fortunately in a minimal way, are calling for violence, bloodshed, and destruction for our country? Which is why this council needs to defend every Venezuelan and their right to live in peace. The Great Caribbean Parliamentary Meeting is scheduled to take place in the coming days, and the deputies will be informed so that they can play an important role in all activities.
Likewise, National Assembly Deputy Timoteo Zambrano emphasized that the objective of convening all Latin American Parliament is to generate unanimous rejection of the threats made by the United States in the Caribbean.
The legislative world where parliamentary friendship groups are incorporated with the aim of achieving a statement from our region, Latin America, and the Caribbean, has always been contention towards the North, and we cannot let it pass. We have to go to the parliamentary headquarters throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, and we have to go to the interparliamentary organizations that are active in the region to invite them to that meeting of the Caribbean Basin and the Greater Caribbean, that is, President, to end our legislature, which we began by confronting Donald Trump, end a legislature that is the containment and definitive defeat of the empire that seeks to come and steal all our natural resources, which are necessary for the energy balance of the entire planet,
The Bolivarian government provided uniforms and supplies to the tactical units of the Venezuelan armed forces. Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez delivered equipment aimed at increasing the operational capacity of Venezuelan troops in the national territory, as well as guaranteeing the security, protection and defense of the people. The Venezuelan minister also reported that comprehensive exercises have been conducted as part of Operation Independence 200 in all entities of the nation, with the aim of coordinating and organizing the people in a civil-military police union for the defense of Venezuela.
And well, from now on, I also want to show how, as I have already said, we have been carrying out 200 independence exercises every day. These are comprehensive exercises that we have carried out in the capital and in all 24 states, territory by territory, operational zone by operational zone of comprehensive defense.
The Venezuelan defense minister emphasized that President Nicolás Maduro democratized the defense of the nation with the fusion of the popular military and police forces.
We could say that 13 years later, President Nicolás Maduro has placed all matters relating to the comprehensive defense of the nation in the hands of the people. In other words, he has democratized defense. How? Well, by creating important instruments, that Bolivarian militia that our Supreme Commander envisioned, but which was put into practice by our Commander-in-Chief President Nicolás Maduro. There we see it, in full construction, these Independence 200 exercises, which we were reviewing for 10 days, ordered by our Commander-in-Chief, showed us the great creation we have achieved, the great strength we have achieved and reached in the union of the people, the military, and the police to bring the entire nation to optimal readiness. The preparation of the people, above all for defense.
And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news, updates and much more. We will be right back, stay with us. Welcome back. In Venezuela, Vice President and Oil Minister Delcy Rodriguez announced a scientific and technological plan to boost the national hydrocarbon sector, showcasing the capacity of intervention in innovation and production. The initiative presented to President Nicolás Maduro highlights the locally developed technology aimed at overcoming U.S. sanctions and reinforcing energy independence. Rodriguez emphasized the effort of Venezuelan scientists and workers as a symbol of national resilience and self-sufficiency in petroleum production and refining. Venezuela is advancing in its oil sovereignty, overcoming the effects of the criminal blockade and external threats, and will continue to strengthen this sector of the Bolivarian economic agenda. On Tuesday, President Nicolás Maduro received the credential letters from the new ambassadors designated by the Republic of Cuba and Lebanon. In the Son of Peru Hall at the Miraflores Palace, the President received His Excellency Jorge Luis Mayo Fernández, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Cuba. This diplomatic event honors the strong roots of cooperation and solidarity forged by the eternal commanders Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro. The President also welcomed Her Excellency Nisrin Bukharam, Ambassador Designate of the Lebanese Republic. The ceremony was attended by Foreign Minister Ivan Gil and Executive Secretary of ALBA TCP, Rander Peña. Both meetings underlined Venezuela's priority of strengthening ties of cooperation, respect and brotherhood with the world within the framework of its foreign policy focused on achieving world peace. Once again, in Venezuela, delegations from social movements and political parties from 52 countries expressed their solidarity as part of the International Day of Support for the Bolivarian Revolution and the communes that are developing in Caracas. The event organized by the Simón Bolívar Institute and anti-imperialist movement seeks to highlight popular power and promote the development of communes that serve as a model for participatory and protagonistic management, fulfilling the legacy of Commander Chávez. The International Front of Solidarity with Venezuela brings together countries from Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America to discuss the role of women and denounce the aggressions of the United States. It should be noted that the Day of Support for the Bolivarian Revolution will continue until October 22.
Self-management seeks to break with the neoliberal model and oil rentierism in order to build from the basis a new social organization that is sovereign, ecological, and participatory. The people through their assemblies are moving towards self-sufficiency.
The commune always has an assembly-based principle, making all decisions in communal assemblies.
Neighbors in the communal territory discuss projects, choose priorities, and plan development in coordination with the city council. Every decision is subject to popular consultations where participation is a priority.
At the last consultation held on July 27th, a project specifically dedicated to Youth 1, which involves training courses, science, technology, and telematics.
Through the INSE and the communal councils, the community has launched a popular training network for young people and adults: baking, computer science, urban agriculture, and animal husbandry. Jacqueline has been teaching the art of bread making for 6 years.
If I'm being honest, they arrive thinking, oh, what is this? Why am I going to cook? And I don't know why, but the first time they make bread, they fall in love with it. From then on, they start asking enthusiastically, teacher, what's for tomorrow? What do I have to do tomorrow?
The commune produces a varied diet in a sustainable way. It is distributed directly to families in the surrounding areas, avoiding speculations and intermediaries, and guaranteeing fair prices in bolivars.
We serve the Fe Socialista commune. Specifically, our focus is on Zone E, although we also take surplus to other areas of our community. Specifically in Zone E, we serve approximately 1,500 families who are served monthly through the club structure. We coordinate with the club spokesperson so that every product made in the territory effectively reaches the Venezuelan table.
In this space, a circular economy model is practiced that reuses resources and reduces waste. Everything is utilized, nothing is lost.
The circular economy models allow things that might otherwise be discarded to be reused. This creates an ecological model that is one of the driving forces behind our country, where ecology plays an important role. Animal waste is used for fertilizer. This gives us a surplus and a margin to be able to systematize and still have a wide margin for distribution.
The project has not only transformed the local economy, but also the lives of the youngest people. Neighbors who came from industrial jobs are now connected to the countryside and food sovereignty right in the city.
I never thought about working in these fields. I was working in the chemical industry and food processing, but I never thought about working in farming here in Caracas. I really didn't, and I think it has been a very beautiful experience.
During a meeting of the Council of Ministers, Colombian President Gustavo Petro denounced the United States' interventionist actions against the country. During the meeting, President Petro condemned the U.S. actions in the region and their campaign to discredit the national fight against drugs. The president also declared that Colombia will not support U.S. intervention in the Caribbean, nor will it lend itself to the murder of young Venezuelans. In this sense, the president denounced Trump's oil greed in Venezuela and condemned the Colombians who want an invasion of the brotherly country. In turn, the president called on the world to help in the face of U.S. aggressions and explained the disastrous consequences that an invasion would bring to Colombia. A Colombian court overturned former President Álvaro Uribe's convictions for fraud and bribery on Tuesday, setting the stage for further appeals in the case. The ruling was reached after 2 judges on a panel of 3 voted to strike down the verdict against the ex-president, citing structural deficiencies in the previous ruling, including insufficient evidence. Colombian President Gustavo Petro denounced the decision and said it granted impunity to politicians who came to power in alliance with drug traffickers and who unleashed genocide in the country. Uribe had been sentenced in August to 12 years of house arrest, a fine of $578,000, and a ban from serving in public office for 100 months and 20 days. Senator Ivan Cepeda, one of the central figures in the Uribe case, has already announced his plans to challenge the court decision. Through his X account, Colombian President Gustavo Petro stated, "The Superior Court of Bogotá repeats history, contradicts the Supreme Court of Justice, and asserts that the judicial interception carried out by a magistrate of the Supreme Court against a criminal in which Uribe's voice appears talking about bribes is private intimacy. This is how the history of paramilitary governance in Colombia is covered up. That is the history of the politicians who came to power allied with drug trafficking and who unleashed the genocide in Colombia. Now Trump, allied with these politicians and with Uribe, will seek sanctions against the president who denounced in his life the alliances between Colombian political power and paramilitary drug trafficking in Colombia. And he does so with the help of those who helped paramilitarism in the country. In the accusations commissions, they are already seeking those involved in the embezzlement of FOMAC, the coup d'etat, so the time for definitions has arrived, and the one who defines is not Trump, it is the people. I wait you in the Assembly of Bogotá this Friday to begin the collection of signatures from the constituent power." And we have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you will be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. For a short break, don't go away. Welcome back. Peru's interim president José Heri has declared a 30-day state of emergency in metropolitan Lima and the port city of Callao, citing a rise in violence and extortion linked to organized crime. A measure approved by the Council of Ministers at midnight on October 22 allows for military support policy and may involve the suspension of certain civil liberties. While Heri framed the move as a necessary step to restore public order, critics argued it reflects a reactive and militarized approach that risks undermining democratic norms without addressing the root cause of insecurity. The announcement comes amid a broader unrest and political instability following Heri's recent rise to power. His administration has faced a public backlash over its handling of protests, which have already resulted in casualties and injuries. Now in Argentina, President Javier Milei enacted emergency laws on pediatric health and university funding, but suspended their implementation and ordered Congress to determine the sources of their funding. The government followed the same pattern as it did with the disability emergency law. Congressman Esteban Paulón announced the expansion of the complaint for abuse of authority and breach of public office against Javier Milei, Guillermo Francos, Mario Lugones, and Sandra Peto Bello. Although Milei now rejects the allocation of funds, just a few days ago, Liberty Advances asked the electoral chamber to reprint all the ballots for the October 26 elections. A request rejected by the judges would have cost the national government millions. On Tuesday, university unions workers at Garrahan Hospital and people with disability will once more take to the streets to protest against Milei's policies. Meanwhile, Argentine opposition deputies will extend their complaint against the Milei administration under the emergency disability law. The executive branch specified that if the law is not approved, it cannot be enforced. Therefore, the funding cannot be covered. For their part, in the midst of the debate on the 2026 budget, deputies are demanding that the government incorporate Congress' requests into the legislative process. Otherwise, they will withdraw their support for the bill. And we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And you can also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, my name is Pablo Michelice. Thank you for watching.